Hello everybody, today we're going to go ahead and pull the front wheel off of a CL160 basket case that I picked up about a month and a half ago and changed out the front tire. Neighbor of mine saw it, wanted to buy it, bought it, so I'm doing some work on it from time to time, and today we're going to change the front tire and take a look at the brakes, see what else needs to be done in the front end of the bike. So let's go ahead and get started. The funny thing about this bike is it seems like most everything is hand tight. So here I'm going to just pull off the speedometer cable, and that looks in pretty good shape. Nothing too bad there. On the other side here we have the brake cable attached, so we're going to go ahead and pull that off as well. Most everything on this bike has been not real tight, so I don't expect too many fights, at least hopefully not too many. Just going to back out the cables. Get them loosened up. Brake lever on the top here, basically, it needs to be loosened up as well, so I'm going to loosen that off. I do have a front tire tube and spoke rubber band to put inside of it. So, basically all new rubber. I have a few other parts, I'm not sure I'm going to get to that today. I have the fork seals, but I don't think I have enough time today to do all that. So today mostly just inspecting the brakes. We'll see if they need to be replaced. If they do, then we'll get that together. But otherwise, right now, we're just going to change the rubber on the front tire. The front rim on this bike looks pretty good. Needs some polishing up. I mean, it's not show quality chrome or anything like that, but it's not in bad shape. I think it'll polish up nicely. Most of the aluminum on this bike needs to be polished up or painted. I think they painted the side covers on these bikes, but we're really not going to do all that right now. I think eventually he wants to make a nice bike out of it. Not necessarily a show bike, but at least a nice bike. I don't know if you just saw that, but basically the rubber dust guard on the cable is so old that it's brittle and it broke. But all I'm trying to do is just free this up here so I can go ahead and pull that off and out, so it frees up off the wheel. I have a couple blocks underneath the engine here. I expect it to settle backwards, but just in case, I wanted to make sure that the bike didn't fall forward once I freed up the tire. Might be a little bit of a challenge to free up the tire on my own here, but we'll see how it goes. So now I'm basically taking the cotter pin off for the castle nut. Using some light hammer blows on that to pull the cotter pin up. And yeah. See, I need a wrench for the castle nut on the axle. I believe you have to take off the end caps off the fork tubes. Probably just have to loosen them up. Not sure what size that is. I might have a wrench for it. Let's see, is that a... No, that's not it. That's a little too loose. That was a 22. I think I have a 19, but that might be too small. And that is. And I don't currently have a 20. But I bet you that is the size of that nut. So a 20 would be the 20 millimeter wrench would be the right size for this front axle nut. But like most things on this bike, it isn't real tight. Alright, so that's off. And that's not rock solid, so it looks like it's got a bushing in there. I don't believe I need to loosen that off. Yeah, put the castle nut back on a little bit so I can see if it'll drive through or if I need to loosen that up. I think I do need to loosen the end caps up a bit. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I need to take the torque link and loosen that up as well. Now these were at least somewhat tight. And what do I need to do on the torque link? Looks like just a bolt back here. Let's see. Is there a nut on this side? Nope. Of course not. It's got a keeper washer on this side. I think I'll go ahead and take it off of that side. Let me get a punch here so I can go ahead and get that knocked out. I think I like this one here. Turn it so you guys can see it. Hopefully you can see it. Let me check. Yeah, I think you guys can. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Hopefully you guys can see that better. Of course, I can't reach it now. Just going to knock these locking tabs back so I can loosen off the bolt here. These should be replaced pretty much every time you bend them. I don't know, I know a lot of people reuse them. They get away with 2 or 3 times. But, you know, every time you take these on and off, they get basically, they get stressed and they could basically fall apart on you. So, good idea to change them if you can. But for now, we're probably just going to reuse it until we get an assessment on what all we need for this front end. That's a little stiff, so it's going to require a wrench most of the way off. There we go. And that takes care of the torque link for the brakes. You know, that stops the drum from just spinning around when you put on the brakes with the wheel. I'm sure most of you know that, if not all of you. I like to talk about things that we all know about, of course. But you never know if it's the first time you're doing it. If you're not really a mechanic but have a few wrenches and want to give it a shot, then, you know, it's kind of a good idea to know all this stuff. So the axle's pretty loose now. I should be able to pull that out pretty easily. Move that back around. Try not to walk in front of you so you guys can see it while I'm working on it. And it is now freed up. Axle looks pretty nice. We're on the center stand. Looks like we're okay on the block there. Should be able to walk this forward, hopefully. And there we go. Alright, so let's take the brakes out. Well, unlike the back tire, this front brake looks really nice. It looks like it might have even had new bearings put in it at one time or another. So that's a good thing. I don't know if you guys can see this, but basically the brake pads are smooth. They're really thick. And the springs look proper, unlike the back end. Everything here looks pretty good. So I'm happy with that. This should be a pretty easy job to clean this up and make it look good again. So anyway, like I said, I don't know if you guys can see that very well or not, but there is the front drum. Here's the brake pads. Brake pads look pretty good. And the inside looks really clean on the wheel. Go ahead and back this up so you can get a better view. There we go. And then inside the drum, again, it looks really good, nice and smooth. I'll go ahead and mic that, make sure it's within spec. Give it a little sanding to roughen up the surface, take off any glaze if it's in spec. And then go ahead and replace the tires. So, that being said, I'll get set up for taking the tire off the rim. And that'll be on the next video. Thanks, guys.